20 years ago, the largest street protests in world history took place to oppose the Iraq War, to oppose George W. Bush and just as specifically his vice president, Dick Cheney. The protesters then were overwhelmingly progressives and they considered Dick Cheney the devil, basically. Why? Because he was lying us into the Iraq War.
There is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
He was promoting and defending the U.S. use of torture.
I'd do it again in a minute.
Cheney argued the methods, including prolonged periods of waterboarding, were necessary.
He believed in abolishing democratic and constitutional norms and standards with things like the Patriot Act. The bottom line was, during those street protests on the left, Democrats back then hated neoconservatives, with Dick Cheney at the top of that list.
Dick Cheney's out there on the campaign trail because he'd be delighted to pass the baton to John McCain.
Vice President Cheney's been the most dangerous vice president we've had probably in American history.
Well, now Dick Cheney has endorsed Kamala Harris. So has Liz Cheney. So have so many of the neoconservatives in this cycle. Why? Because neocons always support the most pro-war candidate. Right now, in this current context, that would mean the U.S. continuing to fuel and fund with American taxpayer dollars the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and we are fueling that, and Kamala Harris said she will continue that, and also to not do much different than Joe Biden is doing right now with the Israel-Gaza situation. Neocons want to maintain that status and see new wars on the horizon, and they see in Kamala Harris a better candidate for that. That works for neocons, and it's kind of strange bedfellows, but it is worth saying that the most high-profile neocon in history, that being Dick Cheney,
no regrets about Iraq.
I think we made exactly the right decisions.
is now supporting the Democrat in this election. And that's important to note because, let's face it, Dick Cheney has not changed his mind about a single thing on war, torture, you name it.
I'd do it again in a minute.
Back when progressives protested those ideas in droves. And now he and those anti-war protesters are on the same side. You don't hear progressives talk about the issues of war and peace that so animated them 2 decades ago the way they do now. The entire focus now is just on Trump. So Dick Cheney has never, ever changed his mind.
Vice President Cheney's been the most dangerous vice president we've had probably in American history.
Many Democrats apparently have.
Inspection team.